40,000 people are now being held at a supermax prison in El Salvador, where recently immigrants from the United States were sent in a controversial act by the U.S. president. This is an example of what the conditions look like at that prison in El Salvador, and to be clear, those U.S. immigrants who were recently sent there were not El Salvadorian citizens. They were not returned to their home country. They were instead accused of being gang members from Venezuela. So now these men, presumably they were all men who were deported, I do not actually know the details, are being housed in conditions just like this. These are individuals from El Salvador who are packed 65 to 70 to a cell. This is a place where visitation, recreation, and education are not allowed. And the logic is that the president of El Salvador has no intention of ever allowing any one of these men back into society. They are there for life. It is essentially a death penalty, but a death penalty where people are dying slowly rather than quickly. And the idea was that the men deported from the United States to be held in inhumane conditions in El Salvador were gang members and who were actively attacking or threatening the United States. The problem is that there was zero due process. So if some random stranger was caught up in a sweep and then put on that plane and taken to that prison in El Salvador, they have absolutely zero recourse. And I definitely get the idea and understand the urge to get gang members off our streets. We feel like people are dangerous, we don't want them around. But the problem is, how do we actually know they're gang members? What intelligence are we relying this on? If we're not going in front of a court, if we're not actually doing any hearings, what are we just hoping we get all the right people? And I will say it is a very small step from taking someone who has no documentation, to taking someone who has a green card, to taking someone who is a U.S. citizen, denying them due process and holding them in a foreign country.